Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of City Skylines. Thank you for all your support on the previous video, and thank you to all of you who came and watched the live stream. We didn't actually do too much in this world. We kind of sat around watching this island here for a bit, and it didn't expand too much at all. You can see we've got our offices around the outside, some of our public services working, but we have no residential area. That's because there's no demand whatsoever. But the island has been a success. You can see we're still in the positive down here. We've successfully expanded our population with more to go, and I gotta say, for the amount of work I put into that, it feels like the amount of population we increased by wasn't enough. So I'm thinking in the future we're going to build some easier to build layouts, focus on this high density stuff. But in today's episode we're going to hang out, go around, check out the city and check out some new mods that I've got installed here. But first of all, this little thing over here keeps bugging me. So you can see that we've got a death and a garbage problem. Let's have a look. They're both severe. A dead person waiting for transport, and garbage is piled up. Now there was a crime problem here as well. Maybe you can only have 2 problems in these slots at one time. But what we're going to do is connect it up to the roundabout. Yes, this is going to be bad. And apparently no, it doesn't want to connect. There we go. So let's put it at that angle. And they should ignore it for the most part. It looks like it's caused the traffic to switch lanes. That's interesting. You know, the lanes of traffic can be a real problem in this game sometimes, and if it's as simple as adding a road on one side to get people to switch, that might actually be a useful thing in the odd occasion. Or am I imagining things? Maybe I just saw one car move over and I thought that they were changing lanes automatically. I think I was being silly. Anyway, let's connect that back up. That will get solved at some point, and then we'll destroy it again. The main problem is, how did those cars get there? They were there before the road, weren't they? And somehow they've made it over here. And they're happy. They're happy that they've been stuck on this road for God knows how long. Interesting stuff. I guess the game puts traffic there. Oh yeah, so I've installed a few mods, and we're going to go check them out one by one. What one should we start off with? This chirpy thing apparently is now going to filter out the most important messages or something. And that's not an important message. Oh, and that reminds me, I've actually got a mod installed that's supposed to make all the text a little bit more readable, and I think I've got to dive through the options menu for that, so I'll see if I can find it and then we'll check that out. Alright, so look at the text on the screen. You can see some of the fonts here are a lot easier to read. I think these two right here are the same size they were before, but there you go, it's a lot bigger. And this is only like a quick mod to make things a little easier to read. If you have a look over here, you can see that some of the text, by being bigger, now kind of goes over the edges, which is fine. This is just here for us to use when we need it, and I think what I'll do is leave it on for the rest of this one, but I might turn it off. I don't have too much trouble reading it. It is a little bit on the small side, but some of you had said it's kind of hard to read. And the way that you change it, well, it's gone. There was a plus minus thing right here, and what I found was you've got a plus and a minus button. You can go up 1% at a time, and each time you click it, you can't spam quick it and make it go really fast, which is really kind of odd because it took a while to get it up to an extra 25%, but I don't know, it's just a quick simple mod to give you some bigger fonts. So there we go, that should be nice and readable. So that's one of the things that I've installed. The other one doesn't seem to be working either. These things always take a while to figure out. Supposedly I've got a filter for this guy, and he'll only tweet out useful things. And so this guy, good morning everybody, what a beautiful sunrise. That is not a useful tweet really, and I think the idea is that it's going to go through all the different messages the game generates and filter out the ones that are just chitter chatter like that. But it doesn't seem to be working, so I've probably done something wrong again. But anyway, let me show you some of the mods that are working here. We've got a new tool for the roads. In fact, we've got 2 mods on for this one. So one of them is an auto snap tool. If we draw a road like this, and then let's also grab a one-directional road over here. Now notice how when I move to the left and right, it kind of snaps to the middle. If I now hold down Alt, you can see this little button over here goes on and off, so I can go to the left a little, like that, and that is ever so handy, just a quick hotkey to allow you to turn that off when you need to. That is really cool, I like that a lot. But anyway, let's place down a road, because you may notice there's a couple more icons here. So this one is upgrade to a 2-way road. If we put that on a 1-way road like this one, it's going to do exactly that. It's going to upgrade it, which is cool. And then over here we've also got the upgrade to 1-way roads. So we've got a 2-way road right here, and notice how it says drag to set 1-way road direction. So if we drag this way, the road will become a 1-way road in that direction. Which is kind of hard to see because the arrows aren't going in the same way by the looks of it. There we go. Now we've got some arrows at the end, so you go all the way around from there to there. And if we just do it in the opposite direction, it will move them back. In fact, you can see the arrows pointing into each other. Now, this is cool the way that that works, because in the live stream we were talking about this, and I was saying, wouldn't it be cool if you had a tool to change the direction of a one-way road as well? And this one actually does all of that. So it's a very cool mod. All of these are available on the Steam Workshop, by the way. If you have the game, of course, and you're interested in using them, then go over there and check them out. So as well as that, I also installed the Auto Bulldoze mod, which a lot of you have been talking about. So now we can click on these buttons to demolish abandoned buildings and ones that have been burned down. Now at the moment, we get the occasional abandoned building over here, but in general, I don't think we have any abandoned buildings in the city. And I've been looking around as well, and I couldn't find any that have burned down either, which is a little bit strange, because as you know, you may have seen in the videos, we usually have a couple of buildings burnt down in this area. In fact, let's speed up the city, and maybe that'll happen while we're recording. But the idea is you click on this, all the burned ones will go down, and all the abandoned ones as well, which is an interesting tool. Not sure if I'm going to use it too much, because it does feel a little bit cheaty. But in the live stream, we tweaked a lot of things. We actually moved a fire station over here to cover some more areas. We placed down a couple of new fire stations here and there, and in general, just improved the city in several places. And since then, I haven't seen, you know, any fires at all, which is kind of crazy actually, considering the size of this place. So the city is doing extremely well for itself, which is good to see. So I think that's most of the mods I've installed. Actually, no, there's one more. This one is extremely cool. So check this out. We've got a little search button up the top here, and if we zoom into the city, we can click on a house or an office or a building of any type or a car, and it's going to query the traffic for that thing. So let's slow the game down to do this actually. And let's come over here to the industrial area. So we've got a cargo truck right there, and it didn't create a path. That's interesting. And the text here is scaling off the edge. That's part of the mod right there. Probably actually going to turn that off. It's not too pleasant. So that didn't do anything. Let's try again. Let's click on this building. Okay, there we go. The game hangs a little bit. That's normal. And then it draws the route. So this mod is a beta, by the way. It's just like a temporary tool. So you can see, well, I clicked on a building right there, and it's drawn a route from over here all the way to there, to that roundabout. And then it stops. I think that means it's just going to go out of the city, but I had one earlier which I clicked on, and we actually got a really cool route to look at. So let's click on that one right there, and can we pull this over so it stops following the car? No? Click on the pin button? Okay, whatever. I was going to read that. In fact, we should probably pause the game. So you can see here, do we have a complete journey? Oh, we have a complete one going all the way to the edge of the map. That's cool. Let's pause the game to read these. And zoom in on this one over here. Where are you going? Sports car. Going to high school. Whose sports car is this? Albert Holmes. I think I actually clicked on this same guy earlier on and saw him driving from over this part of the city. I don't know. I clicked on a guy in a sports car going to school. So we've got a cop car here. It's on a patrol by the looks of it. And you can see where it's going. It's going to go all the way around over to there. It's cool stuff. Let's find a couple more cars. So we've got a parked car. What happens if we click on that? Because technically it shouldn't be going anywhere. So it's parked on the side of the road, but it's got a route. Interesting stuff. Doesn't look like it really goes anywhere either, does it? Anyway, this tool is in its beta, so it's just a basic thing. And I think that's enough of the mods for now. Let's click on this guy over here who's driving somewhere, and then we'll actually have a look around the city. Where are you going, my friend? Back, forth, and everywhere by the looks of it. Huh. Strange stuff. Yeah, I'm going to look into that tool a little bit more. It's not so useful at the moment. It looks like he's going over his own tracks or something, because the line then changes. Oh, it changed a little bit when I zoomed out. You see how it looks dense down here, and then over here it doesn't look as dense? That's just the shadows, I think. So it actually goes all the way over there. Interesting. Very interesting stuff. Right, as I said, enough of that. What we want to do in this episode is go over some tips and tricks, actually, that I picked up, which are really cool. And I think what we're going to aim to do is increase the land value across as many places as we can. So if we have a look at our current land value, you'll see that the city is actually really good. This high green area, like over here, is really good in the middle of residential areas. And in general, it's doing all right. Around the edges there, a fair bit of blue. But what we want to do is obviously increase this, as I said. And if we have a look over here, there are some really nice buildings that have popped up. Look at these ones. These gold ones right here look fantastic. Now that's a top tier office right there. And if for each level we go up here, we're going to increase the amount of jobs if it's commercial or offices or industry. And in residential, we're going to increase the amount of residents, which is all good for taxes because it means more people that we can tax. So you can see here, actually that one's different, I guess, isn't it? That's got 13, that one's got 7 workers. But they're all of the 3rd tier, and maybe just some buildings look a little more fancy than the other. But over there we've got 25 households, there's some room for more. And at the moment our demand is so low that's not going to fill up. So then over in these areas you can see they're not quite at the 5th level, and I've been reading on ways to actually increase these. Now building parks would be an obvious one, but the coverage of services as well has a huge impact on all of these buildings. So what about these small ones down here? They're actually on the 3rd tier as well, aren't they? That's interesting. And I think some of these could be zoned. Or maybe we demolish them and then they become bigger. So the main tip that I read that I thought was really interesting is that these small buildings apparently will lower the land value. Now if we click on this, we may be able to see that in action. It's definitely very blue right where they are, but they're also on the border with nothing behind them. So if we go over to this edge, you can see these ones right here maintaining like the higher value. These are the ones that are 3 stars. We're going to call them stars. And yeah, right next to the road there you can see they make the land value green. So where else would we be able to see that as such? See, in these areas I'm pretty sure these aren't... Oh, they actually are quite high already, I guess. And then what about these more bluish areas? You can see only 2. So it looks like there's a direct relation right there. And even though these ones are 3-star, it's not having the same effect, is it? And that one's lower, which is interesting. And there's a 3-star one. Maybe it's not. Maybe it is because there's just other things right over the back there. But anyway, what I've read, and this comes from the mouth of the developer, let's actually get the game going, is that these smaller buildings that take up 1 or 2 tiles will lower the land value. That's what they've said directly. So by removing these, we should see some bigger ones pop up. Now let's just double check these are zoned correctly. There we go. We've got a 4x4 right there. And that should do a lot better than having these smaller ones, and it should increase the land value. So this is kind of like an ideal spot for a test, because we've got a whole row of them right there. You saw how it's laid out. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, it might be smart to do this like section by section, so you don't have any of these too wide ones. But I don't know if 2x4 is going to be less than 4x4, but we've definitely got a couple of those, so it shouldn't be too bad. Let's have a look. We might see a difference in the land value straight away. Nope. And yeah, it's going to take a while for it to go up. So we'll give it some time for sure. But what I need to do is go around the city and basically demolish all of these smaller ones where there is room for them to expand. And I'm trying to think of where I've seen this before. I know exactly what I'm thinking of. If you give me a moment here. Actually, if we open up the grid tool, we'll see it straight away. Yes, this right here. This is supposedly bad for land value. Having a little 1x1 office like this. It's only employing 2 people, and it's going to hold down the land value of the buildings around it and stop them from getting to the next level. So what I want to do is probably grab this tool right here and go around and dezone places like that. And these will probably never get used, so we dezone it. And that's a relatively small one. I'm not sure how extreme I want to be with this, to be honest. And something that might help right here, you see how we've got a building on this side of the road and that one. We could either put a pedestrian path here to cross this off and join the zone on this side, or we could put it right there and make the one here a little bit bigger. And I think what I need to do is find an optimal example. This actually might be it. Let's go and get the tool right here. So if you use your footpaths and you draw it like that, you're going to cut it off and put it into one zone. But you can see there that actually that didn't really help us at all. So if we put our footpath across this one, and then we remove the one that we just placed. See, we've now got a much bigger plot for offices right here, and we don't want a small one like that, so you're going to get demolished. See you later. We want a nice big office right there. And that's the kind of optimization that we need to do in this area. See, another little office. This is no good to us. Let's go in there and remove that. And this is the kind of maintenance that I'm going to be doing, I'm guessing. Going around doing this bit by bit. So here it looks like we've got another space size problem. So if we were to remove, oh no, if we were to place a path there, then this one becomes bigger. Can I zone that little plot right there? Yes, I can. So now we can have a much bigger office in this area. And that's what I need to do. And look at the size of the city. Like, to cover the entire place, it's going to take a long time. I don't think I'm going to do too much. I just want to see if it makes a difference. So let's have a look at our land value in general. You can see that these office areas are relatively blue, aren't they? So I think targeting this area right here is going to be our objective, and see if that makes a difference. And then if we come back over here, you can see it's starting to get a little bit more green on the edge here. It definitely makes a difference, doesn't it? And if we give it more time, this is probably going to go all the way to the top. So we'll come back there in a bit and see that for sure. For now, I'm going to focus on removing those smaller offices in these areas. Like this guy right here. You are of no use to us. You are going to get demolished. So I've been doing this for a while now, sort of gone up and down this area, and it definitely helps. I can feel it, and sometimes when you're demolishing the buildings, you can hear some of the ones next to it making that little noise where they go up a level. And so I found that the best things to look for are little strips like this. So we might actually see this in action here. It does take a while for these things to change. You can see we've got a row of small buildings right here, so let's unzone that area, and then they should all disappear. And then the land value might increase slightly. I think you'll see that the green will spread more from this area outwards a little bit, but they do make a difference. I mean, the developers said it themselves. I'm seeing a little bit, but I think it's kind of incremental. I thought it might be a big deal. Incremental is not the word. I guess I mean, you know, only makes a minute difference, and I thought it might make a big one. So anyway, I'm probably going to continue going around looking at that, but right now what I want to do is focus on getting that land value up everywhere, and I want to get all of these to like the highest star value so we can have more people living there. And that means more tax as well. So an idea for this area, Hermit Flats, let's have a look at the policies for this zone. If we were to put down the high-tech housing on this area, you can see it's going to cost us a lot of money. The text upscales very nicely on that one right there, doesn't it? It doesn't do all of this where it goes overlaps and stuff like that. You can see it fits inside the box, which is cool. So high-tech housing, let's zoom in and have a look. I can hear the noise. That made the difference we were looking for, I think. Look at this, they're going up to 5 stars. That's going to have a radical effect on the land value. Oh, look at this. We got some of the greenest greens over here. Oh, that's awesome. We haven't had it that green before in the city. Look, over here it gets close, but that is massive. That's going to make a huge impact on this region, and that might, you know, kind of roll over to some of the surrounding areas as well, and maybe help with the offices. That certainly cost us a fair bit of money. I didn't look at this number down here right before, but also it's going to mean more residents can live here. So look at that, 7 households. Have we got a smaller one? 4 to 5. So 5 to 6, 4 to 5, 6 to 6 over in this area is where they're upgrading. 7, 7. So in general, we're probably going to add like an extra household to every house, which means more people living there. More tax. Our tax money's now going up. That's fantastic. Brilliant. That works out really well. Look how green it is right there. That's really cool. I like it. I don't know if that's the highest of highs. If you're going to look right there at the comparison, it really does look close to it, doesn't it? Looks like it's the nicest area to live in. So that works out pretty well. We tried that over here with Hermitcroft, a smaller one, but I guess this area's got better coverage from services and stuff, so that's made a big difference. I bet there's more of those smaller ones somewhere around here. Yeah, look at this. So if we go over to the land value, you can see it drops quite significantly where these roads are. I bet these are contributing to it, and we really don't need a strip of commercial buildings like that. I like the way they fill in the space. I think it looks really cool, although having the same building design, you know, over and over again looks a little bit silly. But I think we can dezone all of that, and hopefully that will help with the land value. So let's bring it back up quickly. And yeah, look at that. Straight away you can see it get a little bit greener on the edge here. That's cool. And this area here is getting slightly lighter. I think that's proof if you ever needed it. So a pro tip for you right there, get rid of all those small tiles whenever you're zoning. Make sure that you've got big buildings. Like, look at this over here. These things we don't need. Now here is a perfect example, I do believe. So we can see what's going on there. We can see the size of both plots. If we put a path down like this, then we create a bigger plot on this side. Now it's not like the most optimal. Sometimes it works out really well, but now you can see we've got a 4x4 on the corner. Sorry, a 2x2. And actually the developer said to get rid of 2x2s and 1x1s, so you can make your own idea about that. But if we have a look at this next corner, you can see that it makes no sense to have this right here. What happens if we remove that? Still not quite big enough on that side, so we might just put a path across the corner like so. Or maybe I should have just put it over there. But yeah, that's another way to remove it, is to add paths as well. So you can sort of force the zones onto the other side of the road. In fact, let's see what happens when we just put a straight path like that. Yeah, you see that was good for this side right here, but maybe not so much over here. So we can zone that area and that, and then if we unzone all of that, then we've got two nice big plots instead of lots of smaller ones. That's the way I'm probably going to do it. So it looks like I've got some work to do in this area as well, but I'm ever so pleased with the land value of this area. And it made a little bit of a difference to our income. It feels like it's fluctuating, going up and down, and I think maybe the spread of all of this hasn't gone too far yet. So there's probably something we can improve over here as well. But there you go, it's looking real good. Okay, so here's something interesting. I've been looking at this area over here. By the way, I just did this area over here. The entire time I was removing the smaller buildings, you can hear them all upgrading their land value. It really does work. We've seen it. Just going to feel the need to point that out again. So where were we? Down the bottom here. Yes, I didn't want to mess with these big buildings over here. I wanted to get it right down the bottom here first of all. And my idea was to put a path across here to kind of divide up the two sides. Now, if you look there, it looks like that one's been done. I'm not sure if these squares are attached to this side of the road or that one, but you can see on this side it looks a little bit messy. So actually what you want to do is put down a road across either side, and you've got to be careful in doing this. I've noticed that sometimes, look at that, it goes a little bit wonky, and you can see here that we lose some zoning space in the middle. If you go in the opposite direction, it shouldn't be as wonky. There you go, so now it goes all the way up to the edge, but that means that all of this space right here is attached to the road on the front. So when we do that, we get more space, and now we can zone it all to the correct thing. So this side is going to be all offices, and look, it doesn't snap over there. It didn't do that in this bit as well, but when you go over this side, it snaps, which is strange stuff right there. I'm going to demolish all the buildings so they rebuild with the full size. You can see that one isn't big enough, so we demolish all of this, we let it all rebuild, and the big plots come straight away, and we'll have a nice little group of them like that, which is a really cool thing. So this definitely works, and I've spent a fair bit of time going around working on this. It's just going to be something that we do automatically now in the future. When we zone out new areas, build new places, we'll know to do that. And I'll tell you one place I haven't looked at is this place over here. You can see residential slowly expanding. Now here is some interesting looking buildings. I haven't seen these ones before, with the hedges around, sort of grey looking buildings. That's interesting. I imagine the land value here will go up as more people move in, but it's nice to see it so high already, which is cool. But yeah, we've probably got a few of those zones in this area as well. Yeah, look, like over here, we don't really need these. They're not good for the land value, so we know to get rid of them. But there you go, a pro tip for you. And the developer kind of said that the 2x2 ones were bad as well. So in the future, when you're planning out your zones and stuff, if you just zone 4x4 areas at a time, then that way you're going to get the biggest buildings, and that helps with the land value. But that is actually going to be it for this episode. I know it's a lot shorter one. We didn't do any major expansion. I just kind of felt like showing you some of the mods that I've installed and going over the city a little bit. You know, doing a little bit of work here and there. I think we've made the place nicer. And that tip certainly does work, as you've seen, which is really cool. So, as always, if you want another episode tomorrow, 2,000 likes, and there will be one. But that's it from me this episode. As always, thank you very much for your awesome support on these videos. It really is appreciated. So, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.